So our next heading is on the basis of formation. We are done with the types of contract on the basis of validity. The first was valid contract. The second was void contract. Third was voidable contract. Fourth was illegal contract. And finally, the fifth was unenforceable contract. So now we come to the heading on the basis of formation. Let's see. On the basis of formation, the first type is express contracts. Express contracts means, what do you mean by express? Express means where you express, where you communicate, where you tell. Now, can you communicate without words? No, you can't. You can either communicate by writing something, or you can communicate by telling somebody something. So you either orally communicate or you communicate in the written form. So such contracts which are communicated orally are oral contracts. Such contracts which are communicated in writing are written contracts. Both of them are called to be express contracts because these contracts are expressed in words, either in writing or orally. The next is implied contracts. These contracts are implied by law, whether the parties intended or no. Parties may not have intended, yet the law will imply these contracts. Or there is possible that parties might have intended to contract but not communicated in words. You would have seen many contracts which actually are contracts but not communicated. Have you ever gone to a departmental store? You would have gone. We go for shopping there, and how do we shop stuff there? We enter the departmental store, we check the stuff, we see all the goods that we want, we check their dates, we check their price, and then we go on putting them in our shopping cart. We pick it up and put it in our shopping cart. And once we are done with the shopping, we go to the cash counter and we just take the card to the cash counter. And what does the person sitting there do? He just picks it up, scans it, and bills our goods. In the whole contract, does anybody speak anything? Do you tell that person that you want to buy all these goods? Does he tell you, yes, he accepts your offer for buying all these things and he is ready to sell you all these things? No. When you enter a shopping departmental store or a shopping mall, it is implied that you have come here to purchase the goods that are displayed. It is implied that you will purchase by paying a price. It is also implied on the part of departmental store that whatever goods they have kept on display are put up for sale. So you do not need to ask them if they want to sell you these goods. They do not need to ask you that if you have put these goods in the shopping cart that you'll be purchasing them or no. Everything is implied. All these things are understood. They need not be communicated. Words are not required for this contract. This is a valid contract. You are purchasing goods and paying some money. It's a normal business deal. It's a normal business transaction. It's a normal valid contract. But this contract was made without the help of communication, without the help of words, either oral or written. none of them were used. So such contract was understood. What was it understood from? It was understood from the behavior, from the action of the parties, from the conduct of the parties, from the behavior of the parties. And contracts which are understood or implied from the behavior of the parties are called as implied contracts. Now, this was a case where the parties intended to get into a contract. Can you give me some other examples? Can you think of some other example? I'll give you one more. You must have seen a lot of, many persons who polish shoes sitting at these stations. They sit with their stuff, the brush and the cream, and they polish your shoes. Now, what happens is they never call you out. What you do is you just go to their desk, put your shoe up on it, put your foot up on it, and they start polishing your shoe. Do you tell them to polish your shoes? Or do they ask you, sir, shall I polish your shoes? No, nothing is spoken, nothing is written. Yet you make a contract. Yet you make a valid contract here. But this contract is again implied or understood from the action of the parties, from the conduct or the behavior of the parties. Both the parties behave in such a way that you can imply that a valid contract has taken place. The person polishes your shoes and you pay him money. So that was a valid contract. You'll get many such examples when you go out. You sit in an auto rickshaw, the rickshaw driver just puts the meter down and starts. This is again an implied contract. When the rickshawala is plying his rickshaw, that means he's willing to take any passenger that comes and sits in the rickshaw, and he'll take that passenger wherever the passenger wants. Again, when the passenger is going and sitting in the rickshaw, he is implying by his conduct that whatever would be the fare, he would pay it. Nobody speaks, nobody needs to speak, nobody needs to give anything in writing, but still you have these contracts taking place. So when you go in some bus, when you go in an auto, when you get your shoes polished, when you purchase some stuff from a departmental store, when you withdraw money from the ATM machines, all these contracts are implied by the conduct, by the behavior, by the actions of the parties. Now, these were the examples wherein the parties intended to get into contracts. There may be cases where parties do not intend to get into contracts, yet the law forces the contract on them, yet the law gets them within the purview of a contract. I'll give you an example for this. Let's say you come to my shop to buy yourself a shirt, and you were carrying a bag of fruits along with yourself when you entered my shop. You kept the bag of fruits besides you on a chair and started shopping. Once you were done with the shopping, you paid for the bill and left my shop. But you forgot to pick up your fruits from there. Now, what has happened is the fruits that you had bought have remained in my store. Now they are in my custody. What do you think? Do I have the right to consume them? Or I now have a duty to store them safely until you return back to pick them up? Correct. Now it is my duty to store your goods well until you come them come back and pick them up. So, law puts me in a contract. Law puts an obligation on me that I should not be consuming the fruits, I should not be selling the fruits, but I should be keeping them safe and waiting for your arrival so that you come and take your fruits back. So, this actually does not look like a contract, implies is but law implies this and makes this a contract wherein it is putting a duty, an obligation on my part.